Hello everyone, this is my teaching memo for Module 2. Happy Monday! The Patriots are off to an impressive start and the Red Sox are waiting until next year, even though they've won 3 in a row. They're just teasing us. They exemplify the cliche, too little, too late. I'm not a cliche person. Oh yes I am. Already the media is calling for benching Eli Manning. He's no Tom Brady. And the Jets, well, we need to see if they can beat the Browns tonight. Okay, a little housekeeping. To start off with a little housekeeping. The assessment literacy discussion board is officially closed and you can no longer comment. I was impressed with the amount of participation throughout the 2 weeks of Module 1 and 2 in all 3 sections. As of Sunday afternoon, there were 516 posts for all 3 sections. In my opinion, having the discussion board open for 2 modules makes for much deeper conversations. This will be my final reminder that according to the rubric, you need to cite a source in at least 4 of your responses. Or you could just have no citation and mention the reading. Or respond to me, one of my posts, that counts as well. Or if you want, that's for an A, if you want an A+, you have to do 5 times, 5 of 9 responses for an A+. I want to encourage conversation, but I want you to apply what you are learning to go deeper by sharing new information. So try to avoid I like or I agree posts unless you explain why and support it with evidence. It's okay to say, hey, I like what you said and here's why. And then, Cohen and Spencer said, or Chapuis and Stiggins said, or Brookhart and Lazarus said. You get the point. I also suggest to maximize your learning in the course, search for my comments in the discussion board and take a crack at responding. You can do that by using the search option in the discussion board. So if you click on the discussion board and type in my name, not sure if I've made any posts here, unread, and just hit return, get rid of the unread. That'll take you to my responses, and I haven't made any in this group. Also, what I would recommend when you return to the discussion board after making a few posts, like the second day, click on the unread, and that way you can go through and see the unread posts. And you don't have to go back and see the ones you've already read. So those are 2 suggestions for finding my posts and cutting down on the scrolling that you'll have to do. Okay, you can find my posts by using the search, as I just said. Don't be a hit and run DB'er. Use the discussions to advance your understanding and knowledge of the assessment process. This is my major way of assessing your understanding of what you're learning and reading. It's also weighted the most when it comes to your final grade. You can also challenge me with thought-provoking questions, which some of you have done already. I also want to remind you all to receive points for making your initial post early in the module. So it does not pay to wait. Finally, look at the module objectives in the module folder and make sure you feel comfortable you have mastered them. That would be in the module overview folder. And that's an important thing to scroll through, especially there are the anchor activities at the end. Okay, talk about the assignments, module 1 and 2. As I mentioned, the assessment literacy discussion board is now closed. I will be grading it this week. For your information, each discussion board will increase in weight as the course goes on. This is a grading system that accounts for students' use of feedback in the course as the course continues. So, I don't expect you all to know how to really do discussion boards the way I want you to do them in the beginning. So that one is weighted very little. I think it's 3 or 4%. And then it increases as we go through the course because you'll be getting feedback from me. Your final discussion board will carry the most weight, so make sure you check the feedback I give you in every assignment. I've made comments on your initial baseline surveys and initial discussion board posts. When you check your grade, you will see the feedback button in the upper right corner. Click on that and you should be able to see the comments I made directly on your document. For your initial posts, I typically just commented on your APA, although I did remind some of you that you need to at least cite the required readings in your post. Some of you only cited one. The initial post is really the major part of my assessment. So you need to let me know that you understand what you read and not just put a little quote in a citation. That doesn't tell me anything. So if you're going to see as I grade them that if I just see a little quote in a citation and then you're moving on, that's not going to be what I consider a good initial post. The first module's discussion board was introductory one, where pretty much anything assessment-wise was fair game. Many of you mentioned such hot topics as teaching to the test, using assessment results to evaluate teachers and promote students, the use of formative assessment, pre-K assessments, and your versions or support of the large-scale standardized assessment process. We had a lot of diversity in that, where some of you said it's a good thing and others said, no, these are terrible because of anxiety and et cetera, et cetera. So we also had a good deal of pre-K conversations, which I am trying to encourage. So keep that up. Many of you took time to share some very helpful websites. That's what gets me excited about teaching this course. I am the head learner. So keep that up, and if I find ones that I think are worthwhile, I will actually add them to my course, as I have done already after the first module. Remember, just adding a link and asking us, here's an interesting website, check it out. It's not what I'm promoting. Use your link to support your comments. This will pique our curiosity, and there's a much better chance we will read or click on it. Plus, it counts for citing information in your response post in that part of the rubric. For the second discussion, I would recommend you downloading Lavoie's article about advocating for kids without getting in trouble. If Jane were my teacher, she would have likely received a counseling letter. It's a good thing to fight for your kids, but there is also a protocol one needs to follow. Undermining your boss is not on that list. And I was a high school principal, so undermining me would have made me very uncomfortable / upset. Many of you mentioned formative assessments. In the Burkhart and Lazarus article talks about formative assessments with special ed kids, which is why I added it, because we're always talking about formative assessment, but typically it's with kids that are all kids, regular ed kids. So I included a link here to an off-cited article, Black and William, 1998. Chapuis and Stiggins cites that. And then there's a follow-up to that by Black, Harrison, and Lee, Marshall, and William, in which the authors mention 3 issues they found with current practice. 1, the assessment methods that teachers use are not effective in promoting good learning. How about that one? Grading practices tend to emphasize competition rather than personal improvement, like who gets it done first, and if you hand it in late because you struggled, points deducted. Assessment feedback often has net negative impact, particularly on low achieving students who are led to believe that they lack ability and so are not able to learn. So we have to avoid that, always with a growth mindset. It's based on your not on your ability, but on your working hard and working smart. The most commonly used form of assessment in my experience is the exit ticket, and so I've added what I consider a great article by Bob Marzano, located at the bottom of Module 2. I also have a link to it here in the transcript of this video. In the section labeled bonus material to make you a better teacher. Of course, if you don't want to be a better teacher, don't download that stuff. The special ed discussion is off to a good start. Many of you commented on Jane's behavior in reaction to her former student, Oscar's reevaluation meeting. I will be jumping in to challenge some of you this week. Don't be nervous. Also, RTI was discussed by many. Cohen and Spencer emphasized the importance right at the beginning of their chapter. Not many mentioned accommodations or modifications or alternate assessment as ways to level the playing field for students with disabilities. Many of you have commented that these assessments are unfair to students with disabilities because they aren't capable. But how do we know that unless we allow them to take the exams? And making that judgment in your own is really not what I consider appropriate. Oh, I'm not going to let them take it because they can't do it. And that's why the state has said everyone should take them. I'm also going to be interested in your reaction to Ted Farnsworth in the Cohen and Spencer chapter on page 13 and what was going on in his classroom. Was that RTI happening there? They talked about that student having learning disabilities. So I'm going to jump in and add Ted Farnsworth in there. So that's it. Much more. I will be much more active in the SPED discussion this week, and I will be grading your first discussion boards. So look for that grade and look for my feedback, and you will do much better. You will be much more successful. So see you in 1 week.